and that'll take us
Right.
to YouTube.
Just give me a second. I gotta reroute my earbud.
Make sure this. I'm actually doing. I'm clicking on it now just to make sure it's lined up properly. I think I have it set right, but you never know with me.
Guess better mute my phone too.
Okay, that should all be correct. Sorry, I'm not looking at the Zoom. I'm looking at the. Well, it's live streaming on on YouTube. So
Better mute my phone
too. Amazing. I don't know what I did, but it's working apparently.
Okay.
That should all be correct. There's a delay on YouTube though.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Well, it's live streaming on it worked on YouTube. So I had it set. I had it scheduled. So that's why it just goes. You know what I mean? As opposed to.
But you do realize we're hearing that delayed audio.
I know.
Okay.
Patricia is on. Patty, hey. What the hell? I had something in here. Okay. So it's going to be tough for me to, of course, chat and talk, but welcome back to Squatch Talks podcast. Hey, I'm Eric Spinner. And tonight we've got Art Mack and Jacob Korbel. And we're going to hear some things about our recent night out in the Pine Barrens. We went out Wednesday night, I think it was, right, guys?
Thursday night.
You see that? I'm still brain dead because I didn't get in until 2 a.m. But
yeah,
you guys are even more tired. But how's everybody doing?
Okay. It's been like downpours around here most of the day, off and on. But okay.
Yeah. No, not as bad as Ophelia was said to be. So I think we dodged a bullet there, but I'm glad we got out before the storm. And hey, hopefully everything passes through so our expedition weather will be perfect. So that's what I'm counting on. But as I told you guys before we went live, I got a new sleeping bag for Heather so she can't be complaining about the cold while I'm out doing night ops.
She always complains about the cold.
We are, I think, on the good old YouTube. And this will be like a preliminary thing. We're just talking about some stuff we did. And then we're going to kind of edit things and put in some of the footage from Thursday night, which we did get some, which was pretty cool, I think. Barring some unexpected visitors. And
yeah, that was not on video, was that?
No, unfortunately. It's just like
well, at least my face plant wasn't on video.
Oh man.
No, it's just on audio.
Hold on. Here we go. I should have shut my alarm off. My alarm for my meds, but I already took them before.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that's taken care of. Good job. I do have audio through the whole night, of course. You know that. So I went out and took some drone footage though of the area. So if there's any footage that's worthy, I can take the drone footage and put the audio on top of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So, hey, it could prove to be a nice episode. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Where do we begin? First off, let me just thank everybody for tuning in and supporting our sponsors, our friends over at Yeti Bars, right? Go to yetibars.net for your Squatch Talks podcast. Yeti Bar. And if you put in STP10 at checkout, get 10% your order and free shipping at $75. So if you buy a couple of Yetis and a Passion, that's one of the new flavors, Passion. And this is a nice one. I really like the way this one smells. Yeti Zen. Yeti Zen for you meditators out there. So thanks for letting me get that out of the way. Get the business taken care of. Art. Some people aren't like us. They don't have an attention span anymore. It's 10 seconds. So
what are we talking about?
So, but no, we had a good time. Got out there, set up base camp by 2130 hours. We were good to go. Started listening to what's going around. I got some things set up with the light ring and the phone. We did a little, clip. And then Jacob, right? What did you tell me?
I think oh man, I don't remember.
You were like,
I
cars
don't
coming, and jumped
Oh
up.
yeah. The Jeep was coming in full speed, and like by the time I like got it out of my mouth, it was already coming around the corner with its headlights blazing, and we're both scrambling to the side, and poor Art fell over when we were trying to get away from the path of this oncoming Jeep that had no regard for anybody, and it just flew around the corner and went off down
I
the
put my
road.
headlight on. Just
I will add, I fell because I was grabbing your light ring.
You were, yes, and that happens. This damn thing has a cord on it that gets you tangled up and it takes you over.
Yeah, well,
if you recall, I got some good footage of it falling over later when I walked away from it holding the phone. So there's good blooper material. But unfortunately, you didn't make the cut because you weren't on video. That's cool. But no, I appreciate you saving the light ring because it got broken the last time we used it out in the field.
And that's why I grabbed it.
Thank you. So, but yeah, I went through some of my gear today because, we're getting ready for the X-Bed, just making sure everything's in order. I came across some stuff I haven't seen in a while, things I also got from Kevin. We have a directional microphone, a Rode directional mic.
Okay.
Really?
I didn't know that. That was one of Kevin's.
I didn't remember it either. We can be using that attached to the camera gear, I think.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's actually pretty decent piece of equipment. So we'll have to test that out. But yeah, after the Jeep went by, that kind of disrupts things, It's just anytime we've had ATVers go past like that, and it tends to disrupt some of the activity. But we sat, quietly like we do, doing our thing, listening. The bug noise was, I think, diminished. If you recall.
Yeah, greatly.
Yeah. So it's getting cooler.
Another week or two, and probably won't have any. At least I hope.
And we didn't have any of our state bird.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't find us last night.
The mosquito.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the whippoorwill.
I was.
When that bugger finds us, he just doesn't shut up.
But yeah, you didn't even use your coil thing that you have, your electronic mosquito zapper.
Yeah.
So Jacob was a little chilly though, because you didn't remember to bring any warm clothing. And
well, I didn't expect it to get down to the 40s that night. I wasn't really dressed for it either.
No, it was a bit chilly, but hey, I don't know. I think it's a good temperature though for squatches, when it's too hot, tend to be a little more inactive. So yeah, I think it was a good temp. We wound up leaving Art at base camp again, right, Jacob? And
yeah, we did.
I would like to mention that this was not too long after I had fallen down.
Yeah.
Like you guys then decided, we'll just leave Art back at base camp. We're going to take a hike.
And you said, my date? And I said, yeah.
Well, I can't run, so yeah, I'm definitely bait. So
yeah.
Well, we headed off in the direction that I had originally gotten my journey cut off short when I was there, day scouting the day before, and the railroad tracks were right there. So I kind of figured we can take the railroad tracks. We get down to an area though that had like a marshy. What was that? It's like
a swampy. It's a headwaters of the creek that runs through there, and it's all bunch of dead trees. It's a large like boggy area that we came up to.
Yeah, and we went down to take a look at it, and we both smelled that, I don't know, musky, kind of odd scent, and could it be the water, the cedar water or whatever with decaying matter? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it kind of like you smelled it and then it went away kind of thing.
Yeah, that was notable.
And if you remember, I'm sorry, finish that. Yeah.
I was going to say, then Art smelled it apparently too.
Yes.
Well, that's what I think he was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Twice. Oh, really? Okay.
It had just kind of wafted through base camp and just came and left just that fast. So it to me, I guess it could have been the swamp, but you would think we would have smelled it consistently throughout the night, and we didn't. Yeah,
that's definitely true. And that happened to me once before when I was out there with my friend Tom. and we had gone out to, place some trail cameras. I told you this before. And when we got to this T in the trail where we were going to make a left, we smelled this really, musky, skunky, wet dog kind of smell.
I remember.
And we
this.
both went, that's odd, went and placed the trail camera. When we came back and we're going to make the right to go back to base camp, it was gone. Then we got back to base camp and it was there.
Yeah.
So, there are some strange things you might smell in the Pine Barrens or hear, so we actually continued down further after doing did I do a couple of
You did a really good like Ohio howl,
Yeah,
and I might have done. I think we might have. I think that was it. I don't think we did
that
any
was
other
just an Ohio
personalization.
howl, right?
Yeah,
And then we continued on. We were keeping in touch with Art via radio, of course.
Yep.
We get down to where the water goes through that trellis, and the bridge was all dilapidated and like not there anymore.
yeah. It was
So-
burnt.
So, we were going to set across it, but I'm carrying all the gear, the radio, the mic stick, the therm, and Squatch stick. I just figured, what, better not take a chance on dropping some of that into the water. So we decided, return to base camp, and then we set out in the opposite direction. So, but yeah, man, there was some. That was before I think you had smelled it, though, Art, right? You didn't smell it till after we went onward, beyond.
Oh, that I can't remember. I'm
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
pretty sure. And just so everybody who's listening knows, and I'm sorry I'm not communicating. I didn't even look. Thank you for tuning in, by the way. I'm going to take this footage and we're going to add in the stuff we recorded on Thursday night. So we'll make a nice episode out of it. So stay tuned. Hey, Greg, how you doing, buddy? So yeah, I just wanted people to know that this is kind of just our live stream way of putting this together. I needed to get these guys on a Zoom call in order to make that happen with the rest of the material. So this is the first portion of it. We're going to all take a look at the footage and just kind of show you what we do out there again, just like the one that Art and I produced last week. And hopefully you'll enjoy it and you want to see more of it, right? But I guess from here, we could theoretically kind of go into the next portion where we wrap things up with talking about it. So if you recall, we left you once again, Art, at base camp.
Yep.
And
That's okay. I'm okay with it. I have nothing to fear out there.
no, you're great at that. I'd be shitting my pants.
Yeah, I couldn't be bait. That's not me.
Yeah. I like going out with Jacob because I can run faster than him.
Yeah, okay. We'll see about
Say
that
that
next time
about
that
me.
happens.
But now anybody can run faster than me since my hips messed up. So
True, I should take you along. Nah, I'm not worried either because I figure they're going to go after Jacob anyway. He's much tastier looking than me. So we got down the trail, right? And you showed me a couple of interesting things.
Yeah,
At one point though, we did have a target on the therm,
we
which
did.
was interesting.
It was interesting for sure. It looked very weird. It had that, popular, looked like a tree peaker
Mhm.
look to it. I recall you shined your flashlight at it and, there wasn't any reaction to it. It was very kind of like the same. It looked weird, but we kind of deciphered and figured out that the tree was too thin to hold anything. If it was a heat signature, it was probably like a raccoon or a possum or something, most likely.
But now that I think about it, though, I'm just thinking there was a hole or a branch that had broken off of that
Yeah.
tree, and it was just hot from the the previous sun on it. But
Yeah.
it's the thing, though, folks. We're not the kind of group that makes up these things. Okay, I could easily have said, "Oh, look at this tree peaker we got." You know what I mean?
Yeah. We gotta use Occam's razor, and we gotta debunk everything. We gotta knock out every possibility before we can say it's a Squatch or anything else, for sure.
And again, I made that point though about how narrow the tree was, that if it was a Bigfoot standing behind it, you would probably see some, other part of his body on the opposite side of the tree. You know what I mean? So it would be hard to
For sure.
conceal.
Yeah.
But we did see a bunny rabbit again.
Yeah.
That's 2 bunnies in a row, which is good to see life returning to the Pine Barrens, you know.
Yeah.
Wildfires, of course. But then we continued on, and there was an old, I guess, blueberry packing house type village there with foundations, and could offer a potential place for something to kind of, you know, hide or even maybe stay safe during storms and things, you know, with that big foundation.
For sure.
What do you
And
think?
it's also a lot of the foundations have a lot of like the invasive trees that have much larger, like much thicker foliage than your typical pine tree does in the Pine Barrens. So those areas, while other areas might be more sunny, those areas offer much more shade, and they offer much more protection from the elements that your average pine forest would have, especially in that general area. That's why I think that they like cedar swamps so much and maple swamps, and it seems like they don't really like the open pine forest as much compared to like those areas that have more like cedar, more maple, and you know, anything that's not coniferous, basically.
And right as we were getting up to that area, I think we did a couple of wood knocks. That's what prior to getting up to there, we did a couple of wood knocks. Art said on the radio it was sort of quiet. It wasn't as loud.
Yeah, the
right?
tree wasn't good. It looked a lot better than it was. It was like a dead tree falling apart for sure.
And so I broke a branch also off of it, which Art did not hear, but that type of sound can, you know, produce.
Well, I'm not sure, because after you did those 2 knocks, I did hear something.
Okay.
And I think if you remember when you came back, you then told me about having broken a branch off, and we figured it might actually have been that, because it was not long. I mean, it was a few seconds after you did the knocks that I heard that sound, and it was coming from the same direction as your knocks. So,
and then I think it was after that, not long after that, that you actually radioed us and asked us if we had done I think, provocation. Or no, you asked if we were coming back.
Yeah.
Are you heading back?
Yeah, and you know why? I had forgotten this when you asked me when we got back to base camp. I had totally forgotten why it was I asked you that. The reason I asked you that is because I was looking down the trail where you guys had gone, and you know, there was a bend, I guess, that to the left from the direction I was looking at it, and I saw 2 white lights moving around for a couple of seconds, and I thought maybe it was you guys coming back already, and that's why I had radioed you to ask you if you were coming back. And when, you know, you said you hadn't, by then the lights had disappeared, and that's why I told you, I'll just tell you when you come back, you know. It's like, quite honestly, I didn't want to scare or jinx myself, you know, at that point.
And now I feel bad that I didn't bring the other therm along, so you could have had one where you were sitting.
Yeah, well, you know, you got all the equipment, dude.
I had the MSA all charged up and everything too. Damn, that would have been good. The FLIR's okay, but only if something's right in your face.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? Jacob, you're familiar with that one.
Oh yeah, yep, for sure.
Well, it came in handy when the other one died on me. The AGM died when we were doing our night ops on the river, and I come up and there's this guy sitting on the bank. I know them. I said, "Hey, Jacob, you got the therm?"
Yeah.
and Patty and I pulled over, and he made the swap. I gave him the other one and took the FLIR with us. Figured it's better than nothing, right?
Yep, totally.
But not much.
Yeah.
So that's interesting though, Art. That's, you know, two white lights. Were they like same level, or were they?
Well, yeah, they were more or less. They were moving around a little bit, and they were probably about 5 or 6 feet off of the ground. And again, that's why I thought about it. It's strange that for some reason I blocked it out when you guys got back. I forgot to even tell you that. But later on, when I got home that night, I was like, why did I ask him if they were on their way back? And that was like, duh.
Yeah,
No.
I forgot about it too, because Jacob and I continued beyond the foundation of the packing house and the other structures that might have been there at one point.
Now,
And he showed me a blueberry patch that's still there, but not being used by anybody specifically,
yeah.
but that might be a good spot to go back to in June, and the June when they're growing
Yep.
and producing, you know what I mean?
Going back to Art, when you thought you were coming back, didn't you say you also heard like a sound or something? Like,
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was thinking of.
Mhm.
That was the thing that came to my mind at first when you asked me, or when you mentioned about my asking you if you were coming back. And I had heard two very faint, almost like peep sounds, but I mean, not really peeps. That's a not a good analogy, a good description, but two very kind of like, I'm horrible at mimicking these things, and I especially don't want to embarrass myself on
yeah,
this show. But they
I
were
can
very
describe it for you,
quick.
right? It was like a beep, right?
Yeah,
Like,
something like, one was like really like a beep, real fast, real short, and then the other one was like a beep, kind of there. See, now you got me to do it.
perfect. There you go.
And they came from that direction as well, down by what I would assume toward the bend where you guys would be coming around. And that actually, yeah, that was after I had asked you guys, after I had seen the lights.
Well, and the road does continue straight, actually, though.
It does?
It does continue going down further.
Okay.
We made a left. There's a trail that goes off.
Okay.
And that's where it crosses over the railroad tracks.
I assumed the trail, because I could not see that from
Mhm.
where I was. It was that dark. I assumed the trail just naturally curved to the left, because that's the way the Jeep went and the way the Jeep came back. So I would just assume that was the trail.
And
oh
Jake,
man,
I think we were on our way out still, right? When we heard the vehicle coming back towards us.
we were heading towards the foundations in the blueberry field.
Yeah, we were
and
still on our way out. Mhm.
we're walking down the trail, and I see the same thing happens. I see headlights, except this time they're much further away, so we had more time to turn off our headlamps and then jump off the trail. And we got low. Eric's next to a tree, and we're letting this guy go by because
Yeah.
we don't like to show ourselves
Yep.
while there's vehicles out there, for sure.
One of the things Matt, always told us
Yeah.
to do when we're on expeditions.
But I, on the other hand, here I am alone at base camp. He's already gone through. He knows we're there. I just turn on my headlamp to make sure he saw me and didn't run me down because of the speed he was coming.
Mhm.
But he did just, surprisingly, he just gave a couple of quick, short beeps,
Beep.
like, like, hey, as he went past, which was good, because I'm like thinking, you guys are where you are. This guy could have run me down. You wouldn't know it. He could have, God knows what, could have happened. So,
Well, that's why I got on the damn radio and I said, Art, the guy's on his way back again.
Yeah.
So at least, we're keeping in contact that way. And God
yeah, but it's
forbid he
funny
ran me
because
down.
by the time, I mean, to me, it sounded like you guys were quite a distance away.
Mhm.
But by the time you basically radioed me, I could already see he was almost coming around the bend. That's
He
so.
was booking.
Yeah, he was hauling through there. And
Yeah.
obviously, I think he was less than happy that we had set up there and that I was there and your truck was there, because I really think he wanted to do one of those drifts or power slides through that turn because it had that deep sand and
Yeah.
everything. So I think that we kind of like stifled
Spoiled
his
his
fun for the
drifting.
night.
Yeah, hey, at least I backed the truck up off the trail. It could have
That
been a
is
lot
true.
worse.
Good thing you did that. Good thing you did that. Because
Because
the first time around, he would have just nailed your truck if you had parked it on the trail. We would have been walking back to Jacob's car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we were out for about an hour, I would say, and
Yeah, at least you guys were going. Yeah.
we didn't hear anything though on our end.
We did have something weird on our way back to Art, where it actually came from the foundation. It was like a very strange. It was a what the heck was it?
A huff.
It was like a huff. Yeah, it was like a very quick, like, just very like
We both
we
heard
both
it.
heard it. Yeah.
Turned to look back at that corner where the foundation of that packing house is. I thermed it and didn't see anything, but it was definitely a clear huffing type sound.
And we've had that before.
Mm-hmm.
And we have had that before, where, if you remember, when we were out with someone else a couple years ago at the berm location, and between you and this other person, there was huffing, And
Yeah.
obviously there was nothing there, but it was like right next to you guys. So
Right.
I don't understand that one. That's a bit of a mystery.
No idea, but I've been huffed at on that same trail during the day by a buck. Okay, I told you guys that story on the way in that night.
Yeah.
But he huffed at me multiple times before bounding off, huffing as he went. He was really pissed.
Yeah.
I guess I woke him up because he must have been hunkered down in the shrubbery, because he got up and he looked at me and puffed. So it's who's to say? Again, like Occam's razor that Jacob mentioned, we have to eliminate all variables, but it was definitely just one, and it sounded more like another type of huff than a deer huff to me.
Yeah.
So we kind of just at that point, what I say to you, I say, hey, well, maybe it'll follow us back to base camp.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Excuse me, I have to take a sip here.
Go ahead. And I don't think it did, obviously, because we didn't really. Oh, well, we did hear some movement after we got back.
We did.
Instantly heard some movement behind us.
Very, very faint. Just sounded like something moving through the brush behind us. It was very.
Mhm.
It definitely wasn't anything like. It didn't sound huge. It didn't sound like it was like a large animal, but it was notable. Like it wasn't there before. And like I said, it was a pretty clear windless night. So any noise that we basically heard, it was notable because we just didn't have much as far as like stuff moving the entire night.
No,
Yeah,
and
and
kind of how it
the
was on the night we were out, Art. Same thing.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
berm.
Yeah. I was just gonna say it's, and it helps that now with, late in the season that the insect noise is decreasing. So we are hearing a lot more stuff that you just don't hear in the summer because of the katydids and the other, crickets and everything out there. In fact, all we had that night, I think, were crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where was I going next with that? I forgot. I was going to say the lights that you saw further down the trail, though, Art. Tom asked in the chat if it could have been eye shine, and I'm thinking you're going to say no, but go ahead.
Well, no, I'm not going to say no. I saw two, but they did not move in unison. Like one would they were like bouncing up and down individually. There would be some distance and closing that distance and everything, like two people kind of with headlamps or something, walking.
Right.
So if they were, I'm not saying they weren't eye shine or eye glow, if you will, because there wasn't really any light. I mean, the moon had already set, I believe, or was low in the sky anyway.
It was a crescent moon to begin with.
It was very small. So if it was eye glow, then it would have probably been, I would say, one eye from two different creatures, which is not inconceivable, especially with the stuff the lights that I've seen in the pines.
Right. Well, unless they're standing sideways.
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly right. The bridge of their nose could block the one eye. Yes.
Yeah.
They're not looking directly at it. Yeah.
But later on, though, after we had gotten back and we were sitting there, catching our breath and relaxing after our hike, I thought I saw eye shine down the trail that we had come in on. And it was up about that height where, you would suspect it to be something.
Yes.
And I called Jacob over to take a look because I thought it's either light shining through the leaves, right, from the ambient skylight, or it's eye shine. But I didn't see it blinking, But you saw it also, and you thought, it's probably the trees,
Yeah.
But it's easy, especially when the moon is brighter. It's easy to think there's eye shine out there.
Totally.
Yeah,
for sure.
Any dew or if it rains or whatever, that really makes it appear to be
eye
shine, especially.
And eye shine in general, it's almost like when you see eye shine, it's eye shine, like almost like right away, just because it's just so different than your maybe like a reflector, or whether it's reflectors will get you sometimes, but it's like you can just know it's not dew, it's not the moon through the trees, like you could, it's almost like clear, like that's definitely eye shine.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm trying to multitask. You know, I'm not good at that.
Me either, buddy.
But yeah, Greg was talking about how, you know, we have our Tiggers and chicks here in the Pine Barren. That's why he waits for the colder weather. But it was cold enough that I said to you, Jacob, on the initial hike going through that tall grass, I'm like, well, at least it's under 56 degrees. We don't have to worry about you know.
I didn't have any ticks on me or any of that any of that stuff when I got home. So definitely lucked out.
Yeah, man. I was okay too. Although I thought I had something in one of my lower red regions, but I had Heather check and there was nothing there.
Always good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's always good to check.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
We're just excited, man. Like I said, I got this expedition coming up in PA. So you can't join me on this one, but we're going to definitely do a Squatch Talks podcast expedition. And we've already picked out the base camp location. So
down for that for sure.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, as organizer though, you got to get all the crap together. You got to make sure you have everything you need. And typically I bring too much stuff along with me.
Yeah. Better to have it.
Comment on that one, or no.
I mean, it's like you say, it's always better to have more. Bring everything and not need it than to need something that you didn't bring along.
No,
it just makes packing up a bit of a chore.
Yeah.
I mean, I can be done. I have everything packed up in half hour. An hour and a half later, we're still packing your gear up and loading it in the truck.
I hope Eric's coming with Patty. I'm not even sure. I gotta get a Zoom.
You want his cart, don't you? You want his little wagon, don't you?
That cart was awesome. So that camo.
You know, dude, you can buy them yourself. I think they even sell that Wally World place.
Patty, in fact, mentioned Art that she's saying to you, maybe Art was seeing the same type of lights that we saw in June when you kept seeing white lights. So, I mean, it's a possibility, you know.
Definitely.
We've gotten in tune with that now, and you and I have been out a number of times. And Jacob, too, we've seen these blips of white light.
Yeah.
And they're not fireflies, you know.
No. Well, not this time of year, especially.
Yeah. Especially if you see one like in November or December, like that's when you know 100% like that ain't fireflies. That's not anything natural.
Yeah, I think you also tend to see more of that stuff as the fall and we head into winter, because most of the vegetation has dropped its leaves, so they have less places to hide. So if a Squatch is out there, bless you, with their eye lights on, then you have more chance of seeing them just basically from here on through until springtime.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, I don't know. I was at REI today looking at gear and stuff, and as I mentioned, got the sleeping bag for Heather, but I was thinking about a tent heater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Since we haven't gotten the pop-up completed yet. But I'm hoping
everyone should have a tent heater. I do.
I do too.
I know. Why don't I?
They work pretty good.
They do.
Used it out at Salt Fork last year, when I think not the first night I wasn't camping out. The second night, when I was out with Patty and her family and stuff, and I think the second night even it got down to 30 degrees or so.
Oh, wow.
And while I'm sleeping, I didn't run it, but as soon as I got up, I just kind of like reached my arms out from under the covers. Sorry, that was my fan. Reached my arm out from under the covers, lit it up, and within 5-10 minutes, it was, I think, probably close to 70 degrees in my tent. So they do work good.
Oh, wow.
Well, I saw a hack on one of the social media platforms where you can use a candle and a clay pot. Okay. And you put the candle underneath the clay pot and you elevate the pot with a couple of bricks. All right.
Yeah.
And that makes heat.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? So, but yeah, I just thought to myself, why don't I have one? I can borrow.
I'll tell you what, those heater buddies or whatever, even the small ones, the little 5 to 7,000 BTU ones will work great. And actually those have a safety shut off and everything if it gets knocked over.
Are they propane or?
Yeah, they can run on the little 1 pound propane cylinder.
Yeah, I've been trying to find what's that lantern fluid, for the not lantern fluid, tiki torch, right? Nobody's got tiki torch fluid. I know my guy in town, the hardware store, is going to have it.
I might have some.
Twice as expensive. Okay, well, then bring me that and the tent heater.
But mine, the one I have, you have to be careful with. It's old. I think they call it Black Max or Black Cat. It's a Coleman.
Okay.
They're not the safest ones to use, so you got to be careful using it. But
Yeah,
for me,
I'll be out on night outs. We'll leave it in the tent with Heather. She'll be fine. Kidding. No, I don't need one. Honestly, I've done expeditions. Up
Yeah, I know. I hear you, dude. But I'm telling you, when you have one, once you've had the opportunity to warm up your tent, it does make a big difference. It really does.
Sure it does. Believe me, especially when you're alone in the tent, like I was in New York. I'll have Heather in her nice warm sleeping bag waiting for me when I get back, though. So I'll have natural body heat.
Yeah.
But yeah, for all you people attending, if you're listening, I'm going to be getting up a little later than I expected to because of her schedule. So thank you, Patty, for getting there. And our friend Brian, my brother from another mother, Brian Spinner, will be there as well. So I'm excited. And then Nathan will be joining us on Friday night with Terry. So yeah, we're getting the band back together. Who knows what can happen with the crew all together. But we're hoping that we're going to have some activity on this one because it's a good time of year to be there. Last expedition, I think I was a week off in the scheduling. I think we're going to have it just right though with the algorithm. What do they call it on the Expedition Bigfoot? Is it algorithm that they use?
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't seen this episode yet this season because my Discovery Plus doesn't get me until
that's crazy.
November.
That's
Isn't that
crazy.
Weird? Yeah. So you know what? It's okay. We'll make our own Expedition Bigfoot, right?
There you go.
There you go.
And we're not out there faking shit like some other people might be, right? We tell
Faking?
Faking? Oh.
People don't fake anything with
Is this
Bigfoot,
on?
do they?
Never. But again, I just, we've been on a few minutes. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to talk about our thing. I wish I had it to play for you guys, but I haven't mastered that skill yet as far as you being able to see the video while we're talking. I can share the screen, of course, you know what I mean? But I would like to do it properly. That's why I didn't rush this episode. So give me some time to hopefully put some stuff together. I'm going to combine audio that we don't have on the filming we did, overlapping the drone footage that I took as well. So there'll be some extra stuff. We'll put together hopefully a decent episode for all of you. We just want to thank you for tuning in and listening to us talk about this stuff tonight. And once again, thanking our friends at Yeti Brothers, the Lair at YetiBars.net, and our friends at Black Rifle Coffee Company, keeping us supercharged and helping us stay out late looking for Squatch. I'm going to take some Tactus Squatch on expedition, so that's going to be good to have. And we had some Squatch burgers tonight on the grill. And I call it that because I have that spatula that makes,
Yeah, okay, but I don't remember getting invited to that.
Well, thank you. I would have had I known we were having them. It was a last minute decision, but we'll do it again soon on the Expedition Grill. Thank you, Camp Chef.
Hey, did you get that thing fixed?
Oh yeah, it's working good.
Okay.
Yeah, man. And I'll bring the Coleman as backup, of course. But hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you were able to jump on with us and had a few of us on. And if you're not doing anything, won't be a show next week because I'll be on expedition. But you can go to our podcasting platforms, Buzzsprouts, Spotify, whatever, Apple Tunes, Google Tunes, iHeart, all that good stuff. Every Friday at 8:00, we have an episode dropping on there. So if you choose to, you can just listen to it. You don't have to use your data up. Okay. So, hey, I want to thank everybody again. Thank you, Jacob and Art, for always being there and showing up. And Jacob's the newest member of NASBRO and the BIFRO, right? The BFRO investigators. So
officially.
eager to jump on and get some investigations
go.
under his belt.
Yeah, for sure.
So hey, as we say, what do we say?
Well, I don't know.
Thanks for squatching.
I say keep on squatching. So
Well,
That works too.
that'll work. Thank you. So I'm going to see if I can end this portion here. I'm going to hit this button. And again, thanks everybody. Boom. So sometimes we
Recording
continue
stopped.
talking. We continue talking, and then it's like Heather saying, this was a piece of shit.
Yeah, this was a piece of shit.
Hopefully,
wow. I
Let's
can't
hear
believe
it.
she would say that.
this button. Let's see if it works. Thanks everybody.
Hey,
So sometimes we
Recording
continue
stopped.
talking. We continue talking, and then it's like
It did it
Heather
again.
saying, this was a piece of shit.
yeah, a piece of shit.
It's still on. Hopefully.
Wow. I
Let's
can't
hear it.
believe